Hello and welcome to your August 2025 astrological forecast. What to expect in August from an individual level as well as a collective level. In this video, I'm going to talk about the overview of what to expect. And on the second part, I'm going to look at the individual sun signs, stroke rising signs, and how you can manage getting through August 2025. Now, before we start, just to remind you, become a subscriber. It all helps to spread the word of astrology, and also do like the video. It all helps. Makes me feel good as well. Okay, let's get started and start off with the overview of August 2025. This is an interesting month. We've got a few planets that are retrograde, and straight away the first one we want to talk about is, of course, is Mercury. Mercury being retrograde in Leo at the start. It does go direct about the 11th, 12th. So that obviously helps the situation, but it's still going to be in its shadow period for the majority of its month. And I think this is kind of a really important period when Mercury is retrograde. It's in a fixed sign of Leo. It's not deeply affecting other planets apart from it's trining, say, a retrograde of Saturn and a retrograde of Neptune, but they're in fire signs, so very similar. The one planet that it is affecting, though, is, of course, Pluto. And Pluto, again, is retrograde. And, you know, the retrograde motion of a lot of these planets is going to be one of the themes that's going to play out quite a bit. However, in this early first week, I think it's going to be quite tense because of the Mercury retrograde and because of the Pluto opposition. They're both going backwards. However, Mercury does not go back to 2 degrees. It starts off at 8 degrees and it goes to 4 degrees before around about 11, 12. It goes direct at that 4-degree mark. So it doesn't make a complete opposition with Pluto, which is good in some ways. But we do get this murmurs or this kind of sense that something's brewing, I think would be a best way to describe it. If you've got planets in the early degrees of Leo or Aquarius, then you might be quite affected by what's going on, or a kind of a feeling that something's looming, something's about to sort of shift or come up at this particular time. Like I said, Mercury retrograde at the beginning, Saturn's retrograde, Neptune's retrograde, as is Pluto. So again, retrograde motions was stepping back, the energy turning inside or internal rather than externalize itself, is really kind of important. On the 9th, we have a full moon at 16 degrees in Aquarius. Yeah, okay, so again, emphasizing that energy of the polarity between Leo and Aquarius being very, very significant during this particular period for us all. A full moon in Aquarius means that we step back from the more emotional aspects of what's happening in the collective and look at unusual ways of responding and working as a group or working with equality, that kind of energy. This is particularly poignant because, of course, the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, which is in Gemini, another air sign right at the beginning of Gemini. So that'd be important. Also, planet Mars is really kind of from the 6th goes into Libra, where it's not so comfortable. So we have a little bit of an energy, quite an air energy coming into the picture here. And so I'm not expecting anything dramatic at that full moon at all. But I think, you know, with Aquarian sort of moons, it's like you're distancing yourself away from the more emotional aspects, or things happen in the world that you don't feel as passionate as you normally would, or as emotional here. As I said, Mars goes into from around a 6 into Libra. Mars does not function particularly well. Conflict pretty much ensues from that combination, or at least a feeling of diplomacy being difficult at that particular period. I don't think it helps the situation. However, it does, in about the 8th, 9th, 10th of August, it does trine Uranus, which is interesting. So things can get done in the air and the communication, but again, Mars is not functioning particularly well. Venus is in Cancer until around about the 25th, 26th, when it moves into Leo. Venus likes to be in Cancer, so that does ease the kind of the pressure. We've got a new moon on the 23rd. That's going to be at 0 degrees in Virgo. 0 degrees is always quite a critical degree that's going to come about here. And that is creating a square aspect with Uranus. So that's more complicated. That new moon is much more complicated in terms of how to deal with that particular energy because the Uranus factor here. There's a lot of fear coming up about technology during that leading up to that new moon, and how to deal with it, and boundaries and stuff like that come up. That's quite significant. It's a month that is stop-start. We've got some big sort of transits that have been going on. The conjunction, particularly between Saturn and Neptune, that's happening in Aries. That's having a massive effect. Jupiter is going through Cancer. It starts at 11 degrees in Cancer. At the end of the month, it's 17 degrees. So Jupiter's exalted in Cancer, so that's more than happy. But I mean, it just feels like there's big kind of metaphorical earthquakes happening at the moment, and this kind of sense of everything kind of quickening up, and a lot of fear being brought in. So I think for a lot of people it's going to be quite a difficult energy to deal with, particularly with all those retrogrades. Most people are going to feel like, oh God, where's this all going to kind of go? So it's just to be very, very grounded during this particular period, I feel is important. We've got the North Node around about 18, 19 degrees in Pisces, means the South Node is at 18, 19 degrees in Virgo. So that polarity between self-sacrifice or surrender into something bigger, that can be quite good, or it can lead to a little bit of going down the wrong roads on a collective basis. Who's the scapegoat? Who's the victims in society? Who is society picking on? Who needs to let go? When you're dealing with Virgo and Pisces, the energy, you're always dealing with kind of a need to escape, but a need to service other people or be at service to other people. And I think that this collective aspect, that the polarity is really playing out by the moon's nodes during this particular period. Okay, let's go into the individual sun signs and rising signs, and let's start off with Aries sun and Aries rising. So listen guys, Aries, there's been a lot going on with you. Saturn in your own sign retrograde now, Neptune in your own sign retrograde, a lot going on. Both those planets will be starting to move back into Pisces. In fact, in September, Saturn does. But let's look at your ruler, Mars. So your ruler, Mars, is going to be from the 6th, 7th in your 7th house. And that is the house of relationships and other people, and how you deal with other people and how people see you. And with Mars transiting there, there's always a need to be assertive, direct, and to really get your point across in a way that is going to be palatable to other people. The thing about Aries is that they are direct and they like to move things forward. And when you've got Mars opposing you, it means that you can be too impulsive and just rush into stuff and make decisions for decision's sake. There's a lot going on with Aries at the moment, and Aries will feel like they're a little bit of a whirlwind. Jupiter's in your 4th house, so there's a lot going on in the home environment. You've got, as I said earlier, Saturn and Neptune in your own 1st house. So there's a lot of changes that are taking place. but at the moment will feel kind of restrictive, or there's pressure on. This Mars is not helping you in the 7th house. And sometimes people will project their own energy onto you or their own issues. And it's about how you react to that, whether you kind of dismiss it or step back and go, I'm not going to get involved. I think the big time would be around about the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, simply because that Mars is opposing Saturn and Neptune. And when you've got Neptune as a factor in it, you're always dealing with projection. And you're always dealing with the sense of smoke and mirrors from other people. And this could give the rise at that particular period for misunderstandings or people projecting stuff that is nothing to do with you. Be very, very careful during that period. Tread carefully. If you can do that, you really are starting to learn about the use of Neptune and Saturn in effect. But Mars needs an energy, needs an outlet. And I think that, you know, personally for Aries, being the physical body, if you get angry, you know, use stuff like sport or that kind of energy or meditation practice that allows you to be grounded in your body, means that you're using that Mars energy in a positive way. Okay, let's go to Taurus sun sign or Taurus rising. So Taurians, Venus, your ruler, is circulating, you know, this month in your 3rd house, and then around about the 26th, it will go into your 4th house. So, you know, the communication is going to be a kind of key, getting your point across, dealing with the everyday things that you need to deal with. If you're looking to sort of, you know, if you're working online or you're looking to launch something online, or this is a really, really good time for you to be able to do that and to work with that. You've now, Uranus is in Gemini and doing its thing in Gemini. Things have slightly gone a little bit, maybe feeling a bit flat, or things are not as hypersensitive as they have been over the last 7 years. That's okay. You will get used to that. You'll enjoy it. You'll start to enjoy it a lot here. That communication in how you present yourself to the world is so important to you now. Venus is in your 3rd house, so is Jupiter. You know, absolutely brilliant. The full moon that's occurring for you on the 9th is really important, because what it does is it hits your 10th house, which is the house of your career. So round about the 9th, quite big movement around career, or being, what I would say is a full moon, illuminated, you know. So perhaps you'll give a status, or something happens that lifts your status or your public persona a little bit, or you know, your boss suddenly kind of goes, well, actually, yes, I've seen you be doing some good work. There is a kind of sense with all full moons of a sense of endings. But I think this is more about actually being seen within your career a lot more. And you know, Taurians are kind of a shy zodiac sign, more introverted, and so they don't necessarily like to be seen. But I think you can kind of see this as an opportunity for you to put your points across, get your ideas, and for other people to listen to those ideas and respect those ideas as well a lot. That Saturn and Neptune in a 12th house is working on the subconscious basis of you. All the stuff that needs to kind of be extracted. It's kind of like a therapeutic process that's kind of happening to you, particularly with Saturn. And Saturn, in fact, is in its joy in traditional astrology in the 12th house. So that's kind of working for you. The Mercury retrograde is the one area that's right at the beginning of the month for the first week and a half, and that's to do with your home and family and stuff like that. So there might be delays, or you feel like you're sort of walking through treacle, but it goes direct about 11th of 12th. That starts to move forward. So things that have been delayed in the home, the family, or property will start to move forward as we go progressing through the month. Okay, Gemini sun sign, Gemini rising. So we come back to Uranus, of course, being in your own sign of the zodiac. You're still getting energetically used to that. And some of you will be starting to really enjoy that, particularly if you're born around about the 21st, 22nd of May. Then you guys are really kind of feeling that Uranus energy and that need to change and that liberation and a bit of chaos and a bit of disruption coming in for you. Venus is transiting in your second house, so this is about the financial, the value of yourself. You've also got Jupiter there, so there's a lot of emphasis on how you value yourself and the money that you earn and how you deal with your body and how you look after yourself. Quite a big themes playing out there for you, which I think that you will start to kind of really work with. And the other thing is that Mars is going into your 5th house, so there's a little bit of fun about to happen, and put that Uranus in there, and then you kind of go, well, yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had for a lot of Geminians for this month. We've got the planet sort of retrograde that's sort of coming in here. That's to do with a lot to do with friendships around you at the moment. I just sort of feel with Geminis, yeah, the energy of Uranus has sort of come in, and that is really kind of significant for you. But as I said, there's a lot of second house issues that are coming out here. And if you're dissatisfied with the way that you work, how you get paid, how much you get paid, then I think this month is looking at that and actually almost doing a kind of vision board of what you would like, what you think you're worth, working on that inner level. I think is going to be really, really good for Geminis. And how do you want to earn your money? And is it being much more self-employed? Is it being a bit more freelance? Is it looking at the way that your relationship with money and how you can improve that on an internal basis? These are all massively important things that are coming up for you, Geminis. And you know, Geminis is a dualistic sign, so it kind of really likes to kind of have polarity points and 2 jobs and two houses, and you know, it's very dualistic in its nature. But I think there is an expansion coming in with the value that you contribute to your world, to the people that you love, and I feel like that recognition is going to bring up your confidence level. Plus, you put the Uranus factor in, so you're being much more open-minded and, you know, a little bit more of a chance-taking energy about you. Good month. Okay, Cancer, sun sign, Cancer rising. Really kind of interesting. Jupiter, of course, is in your own sign. You've also got Venus for the majority of the month that's coming in until last week. So a little bit of pleasure for you that's coming out here. The full moon and new moon, the full moon on the 9th, and the new moon on the 23rd is not really affecting you. I mean, it does because the moon is the ruler of your zodiac sign or your rising sign. That new moon on the 23rd, though, that makes a link in with Uranus for you, which comes a lot to do with you know, the 12th house as well. So there's a real access there, and I think that's going to be very kind of important in terms of the communication, the access between the subconscious, the unconscious and the subconscious is coming out here, and the dreams, and can they turn into reality and stuff like that. But because you've got Venus and Jupiter, you know, in your own sign, great for holidays, great for actually spiritual development, great for you getting to grips with what's important to you, great for expansion, great for connecting with other people. And actually, I think for a lot of you, not feeling really kind of like emotionally like drained by others. You're sort of stepping out of your shadow. You're kind of embracing others. You're kind of going, yeah, okay, I'm going to be a little bit more outward now. And this is all the Jupiter factor that's coming in here. And initially, Cancers might be feeling a bit sort of insecure with this and a bit, all right, okay, I'm being seen a lot here. But actually, this is an enjoyment. It's good for you. So I kind of feel like very much that this is an energy that you're going to be really kind of working with here as well. And the sun, for the majority, is in Leo in your second house. So that really kind of lights up the whole thing about being seen and, you know, enjoying the work and everything else. So really good month for you, Cancerians, really strong month. Okay, let's go into sun sign Leo, rising sign Leo. Right, okay, we've got issues, haven't we, Leo, that we've had going on here. I always talk about the Pluto factor, don't I? Always going on about the Pluto factor. He always goes on about the Pluto factor. Big factor, isn't it? Why is it a big factor? Well, because it's in your opposite sign. And we've got a full moon in your opposite sign on the 9th at 16 degrees in Aquarius. And we got Pluto there. We're starting to get this kind of energy that is a little bit tricky, actually, coming into this. You see, I think for a lot of Leos that they're sort of throwing out things out there to see what's going to stick. I think they're going, I want change, I want transformation, I want to bring it all in. And actually what's happening is that not much is coming back at the moment. Everything's gone a bit quiet, a bit slow, and they're kind of going, well, everything was exciting about 2 or 3 months ago. How come it's going to slow down all of a sudden? It's the Pluto factor, just in the background. It's just sort of getting things kind of moving. But this is your birthday month for a majority of you. This is where the sun shines in your own zodiac sign, where you can have fun. Even though it's a bit quieter than you would like, you can still have fun. And that's exactly what you should be looking at and basking in the sun. But I think the issue at the moment for a majority of you is this kind of, there's something in the background that I don't like. There's something coming up. And that really is the shadow aspect. And I'm going to do another video on the shadow aspects of each sun sign coming up. So stay tuned. But I think for a majority of you Leos, with this, once you get the full moon out of the way, beyond the 9th, things will start to settle down a little bit for you. There is support coming in. To be honest, Saturn is supporting you. Neptune is supporting you, even though the retrograde. Even Uranus is supporting you. Pluto's the one that's the issue. The other issue, of course, is Mercury retrograde in your own sign. It does go direct on the 11th, and it comes out of the shadow period around about the 25th, 26th. So, communication better, things starting to move, things starting to improve. That last 4 days of the month is when I think you'll find that things begin to happen for you. Good luck. Okay, Virgo, sun sign Virgo rising. Your ruler is Mercury. It's retrograde. It moves direct on the 11th. It comes out of its shadow period about the 25th, 26th. It's in your 12th house, the house of the unconscious, the house of self-undoing. Have we made things a bit more complicated than they need to be? Have we created a bit of a mess and now we're kind of thinking, well, how do I tidy it up? Yeah, there is that kind of sense. We do have a new moon at 0 degrees in your own sign, but that new moon is also squaring Uranus in the 10th house, which is creating a issue to do with career matters at that time. New moons are new starts. But the moon is waxing. But because of the Uranus factor, you're going to get surprising things in terms of career. This could be an opportunity that comes out of the blue. This could be a turn of events that suddenly makes you think, hang on, I thought I was on this trajectory and now I'm on that trajectory. This is how Uranus works, and this is what you've got coming up. So to me, at the moment, you know, for you Virgos, you've got this stuttering start, well, while your ruler Mercury is retrograde. Then you've got this middle part that's kind of like, oh, this is quite nice, actually, things are starting to move. And then you've got the new moon on the 23rd where it's kind of, oh, these surprises, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I didn't realize that would kind of happen. It's okay. It's okay. Because at the end of it, what you're going to do is from where you were at the start of the month to where you end is quite different and surprising and illuminating. And therefore, exciting and changeable, and it means you can put a new strategy in place that can help you move forward. Okay, Libra Sun, Libra rising. Venus is trying to do you a favor in your 10th house. But it's whether you accept the favor that comes along and accept the help that's coming along. I think at the moment, Venus energy is squaring your sun. Basically, that's what it's doing. And that means it's quite a dynamic energy. And you've got Jupiter as well, squaring the sun. So you're being kind of seen here. There's things happening in the background for you. However, the big news is around about the 7th, the planet Mars transits into your own zodiac sign or own rising sign. So we've got a little bit of that assertiveness coming in. We've got that, got to get on with stuff, got to do stuff. Little bit of a temper maybe, or losing it, or becoming too rash, too impulsive, making decisions. It's other people that are causing the problems. It's not me. I'm love, peace, harmony. Okay, Librans, yes, you can be, but you can also go in there and create kind of a little bit of drama and then go, oh, I'll put it back together. Thank you very much. But that Mars energy, Mars in Libra is a dichotomy. Libra's ruled by Venus. Mars is, there is the god of war. So it brings in a very, very different energy. They collide with each other. I want peace and harmony. No, I want to get things moving. And this is the dynamic that you're working with. However, you can use this to your advantage. You can get things done. If you want to clean a house, if you want to, get CVs out, if you want to, make an interest work for you, if you want to recreate your social life, this is the time. This is the time to get things done. But planning is going to be absolutely the thing that's going to make this, because if you don't plan, you just rush into it and you don't think about it, then, well, what happens? Chaos. So, use Mars wisely. Okay, Scorpio, sun sign, Scorpio rising. Your traditional ruler is the planet Mars. That's in your 12th house, particularly from the 6th or 7th. The 12th house is the house of the unconscious, the subconscious, dreams, isolation, meditation. And with Mars in there, it's being assertive with all those areas and themes that I've just talked about. But that's difficult because it's not something you're conscious of or something you can do with. It's happening in the background for you, preparing you for almost when Mars will go at the end of September into your first house, and it'll be happy then. So you've got that energy. Pluto is going retrograde in Aquarius, which is affecting your 4th house, which is the placement of the home environment. A lot going on. Power battles can come up during this particular period. Power battles where you've got, I don't know why this is happening to me. Mars in the 12th house, Pluto in the 4th house, natural water houses. A lot of emotion swirling about. And it's about how you respond to that emotion this month that's going to be a key aspect to this. That full moon on the 9th, 16 degrees in Aquarius, that's in that 4th house, the house of the home, the family, and the ancestral lineage as well. And where we find sanctuary. But I don't think we can find sanctuary this month in the home environment. I'd be looking at the work environment to find a sanctuary this month for you Scorpios. I wouldn't be hiding. I'd be out there trying to sort of get things kind of moving and understanding your inner motivations as to why you're doing certain things. That's going to be the big help for you this month. Okay, Sagittarius sun sign, Sagittarius rising. Jupiter's rocketing through Cancer. Doing really well. Okay, and that's in your 8th solar house, which is, I call it the therapeutic house. I call it also the house where the house of the skeletons cupboard, so we take them out. So you're going through this sort of therapeutic journey at the moment. You've also got Venus in there as well, traveling in the 8th house. So this is very, very therapeutic. Understanding yourself, understanding your placement in the world and how that relates to you. You know, you're still getting used to Uranus because that's in Gemini, that's in your opposite sign, and that's in your 7th house, and some strange people coming into your life, and you're going, I'm not sure about them. They're exciting and they're different, but I don't know how I kind of feel about them. They're coming in and starting to kind of play with you a little bit, so that you're trying to get used to that particular energy. But it's a kind of there's a playfulness here, and you're able to look at the sort of the more shadowy aspects of life with a light touch and a kind of an appreciation. And this is what Sagittarius essentially like to do. You know, they use humor a lot to get through life, trials and tribulations, you know, and they create a vision for themselves and they move that forward here as well. And that's kind of what they're all about, you know. And you know, but now the Uranus factor is coming in, they're kind of getting knocked by other people. Other people are kind of questioning the vision and questioning the process. So although you'll find out more about yourself this month, and you're digging deep and you have some great realizations, you've got other people coming in and spoiling the party and demanding more answers from you. And my advice would be not to sort of give your answers, but to just step back and enjoy the inner energy and the inner knownness that filtering through you, and that you're understanding your own self awareness of who you are, where you're going in your life. You're not just ready to sort of bring it out just yet to other people. Okay, Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Rising. So let's look at Saturn. A lot of responsibility in the home around, because it's in the 4th house and conjunct to Neptune in the 4th house. All that 4th house energy. However, you've got Jupiter and Venus in the 10th house. Not the 10th house, in the 7th house. So we've got a lot of opportunities for people coming into our life during this month that are benefiting us. That's Venus. Venus is happy in the 7th house, happy in Cancer. People that are there to bring in harmony. People are there to help us. We've also got Jupiter in there. So there's a lot of other people making decisions and choices for you that if you be open to it, then you're going to get a lot out of this particular month. However, in the career section of your chart, Mars, around about 6th or 7th, goes in to your 10th house. So we've got to get a bit of a balance here. We've got nice people coming in, trying to help us, but there's a control aspect for the Capricorns that's taking place. And that control aspect is all to do with the fact that Capricorns, no matter what kind of career it is, or work it is, or voluntary work, they take that in pride and they like to control that environment. And Mars is like being assertive and trying to get you to, get you to work hard during this particular period. But like Mars is a nocturnal planet and it's above the horizon in your chart, so it's being seen. Be careful not to be impetuous. Be careful not to lose your temper. Be careful not to be too assertive. Be diplomatic. Be careful how you tread during this particular period, because people are there to help you. They're there to support you. You don't need to necessarily exert your authority. You don't need to feel insecure about your work during this particular period. Allow others to help you develop things and move things forward. Try not to control everything during this particular month. Okay, Aquarius Sun sign, Aquarius rising. Interesting with Aquarians that they got two rulers in modern astrology. They got Saturn that's retrograde in the 3rd house, the house of communication, and then they got Uranus that's in Gemini in the 5th house, the house of self-expression and creativity. And that's just sort of settled in for a majority of you. The big news for you Aquarians, of course, is that full moon on the 9th at 16 degrees in Aquarius, pretty much in the middle of the sign. which is hitting your first house, which is the house of you. So there might be a very much a little bit of a sense of extra sensitivity or extra awareness of yourself and other people around you, or just feeling a bit drained during that particular period. You know, need a bit more rest than you normally would, or need a bit more sleep than you normally would. I always think that the soul's sort of processing on full moons. If it's hitting your own zodiac sign, it's trying to gather the energy here for yourself. So there is that kind of sense of, oh God, I'm suddenly feeling more tired, a bit more run down, I suppose. And it's just that kind of process that's happening. Very similar to what happened around about the middle of February here. So look at that kind of energy at that time. I think with the Uranus effect, you're starting to get to grips with that and probably starting to think creatively and what you would like to do in the future and stuff like that. You can't quite do it at the moment. Remember, Uranus is going to go back into Taurus in the autumn period, and then next year it will finally go back into Gemini. And that's the period when the ideas that are permeating creatively in your mind, next year is the big year for that. These are just as, oh, I'd like to do this. Oh, I'd like to do that. Oh, that would be quite nice to do. It's not necessarily that you can actually do them this period. You're just starting to think about it. Basically, you've got the headspace to be thinking about it. That's what's happening. You don't need to act on it at the moment, is my advice here for yourself. The big thing about health as well, Venus, Jupiter in the 6th house, looking after yourself, eating well, stuff like that. If you feel a little bit tired, run down, that's more to do with the full moon energy. Okay, Pisces sun, Pisces rising. I think a lot of Pisces are sort of almost being quite prophetic in the energy of sort of sensing that Neptune, the modern ruler, is going back into Pisces. It doesn't happen until, you know, sort of October time, so we don't have to sort of wait. But, you know, Pisces are sensitive to these kind of things here. Your traditional ruler, I should say, Jupiter's rocketing through, doing really well for you. Not a problem in your fifth house. It's fine. It's doing well. There's good times to be had. There's opportunities that are just falling down from the trees at the moment for a lot of Pisces, and they're going, oh, does this work, and stuff like that. So it's a great kind of time. That period is not going to last forever, so make the best of it during this particular period. And but for a couple of months, you've still got that very much about you, and that's a kind of nice energy to kind of have in a way. Big news is, right at the end of the month, 23rd, you've got a new moon that is in your 7th house, squaring Uranus, which is in the 4th house. So around about 22nd, 23rd, 24th is a little bit complicated. There's too much going on at that particular period for you, Pisces. And look, Pisces is a dualistic sign, so it doesn't mind it when it's kind of busy. It doesn't like it when it's kind of too quiet, actually. But this is just a bit too much. And I kind of feel like, you know, prioritize what's important during that particular period. It might be, you know, just too much on, and you've got to literally make a list and go, right, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, then I've got to do this, instead of trying to do it all at the same time, because that's just not going to do you any good for yourself. It's just going to cause utter confusion a majority of the time. The Mars factor is also transiting your 8th house. And that's kind of interesting, because I think that there's also, you know, financial things that need to be sorted during this month that's going to be taking up a lot of time, it feels like, here for yourself. And it's one of those months where, yes, you've got the looming, oh, you know, that feeling of Neptune moving again, it's going retrograde, you know, and this is all, you know, happening in the 2nd house, the financial house. So it's like you've got to be looking forward, not stepping back into old patterns of behavior, particularly with financial matters during August. Okay, guys, that's it. Become a subscriber, like the video. I've got some more videos coming out very, very shortly to do with the shadow aspect, so look out for them. And I will see you all, no doubt, very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Much appreciated.